How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another Driving Thought Thursday. And today we're going to be talking about being compelling. And I want to focus on this verse in Luke chapter 14, verses 23. The Bible says, "And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled." And so with that being said, let's cue that intro. So I want to talk about what happened this Sunday. So Sunday came around, we had church, some good old hard preaching. Brother Bruce preached on dispensationalism. If you haven't heard that sermon, I don't think he uploaded it yet because he's using it for the documentary. But Sunday came around, we had service. We had a few visitors. After the service, I talked to a few of the visitors, and one in particularly, his name was Josue. Now Josue, this was his first time coming to Faith Forward Baptist Church of El Monte. And basically he heard from Pastor Steven Anderson from just someone made a meme about Pastor Anderson, and then just saying how can this guy be loving or be a pastor if he's not even loving and all that stuff. And it goes to show you what Pastor Anderson says, bad publicity is good publicity. So this guy, he comes out and then he tells us, I tell him, hey, have you ever been out soul winning? And he's all, no, I haven't. And I was like, well, you should come out soul winning, I'll be your partner. And so, we go out soul winning, we get sent out, we go out soul winning, we go to our block. And, while we're doing our block, he experiences basically the good, bad, and the ugly of soul winning. We went out soul winning, we did our block. The first door we knocked on, basically nobody wanted to hear. Second door, nothing as well. Third door, some lady yells at us for being on her property, tells us to get off property, yells at us. And so, the next door, we try to witness some cholos, but they didn't want to hear it either. They were drinking actually and working on a car, typical cholo stuff. We just keep doing our block, and I gave the gospel 2 times in a row to these 2 ladies, and they didn't even get saved as well. I gave the full gospel, and they didn't even get saved. And so, we're going on to doing, the last part of our block, because our block had cul-de-sacs to go in and out, little dead-end streets in there. So we're doing the last one because we were going to go meet up some people at Chipotle to go eat. But then, those people didn't even want to hear it there as well. So I'm like, man, it's like, this is bad because, nobody wants to hear it. This guy is experiencing the good, bad, and the ugly of soul winning. It's like he's experiencing mostly the ugly part, okay, and the bad part. So I told him, I was like, Jose, let's go. I was like, let's go to Chipotle. I got you Chipotle because this is your first time going out soul winning. Let's go eat. We're heading down the cul-de-sac, or down the little dead end street, and we see a teenage boy just coming towards us on a fixie bicycle. Now, if you don't know anything about fixie bicycles, they're basically this. They're bikes with just one fixed gear. They only go forward or backward. Whichever way you start pedaling, that's the way you're gonna go. And so this guy's riding this fixie bicycle, and I try to invite him to church. I stick out an invitation to him. I was like, hey, can I invite you to my church? And he had to hop off the bike and actually stop with his feet. And I think he was wearing chanclas or something, So he had to jump off the bike and, get the invitation. And so I told him, hey, more importantly than coming to my church, are you 100% sure that if you were to die today, heaven would be your home? And he's all like, yeah, I believe that heaven's going to be my home. And I told him, okay, well, why do you think you're going to go to heaven? And he says, because I've been good, I do good deeds, I do good works and all that stuff, I'm a good person. And I'm like, okay, well, actually the Bible tells us something different. It teaches something different, how to get to heaven. And, the Bible, and it's not by good works, I tell him. And he's all, okay. And I told him, do you mind if I just show you? And he basically said no. He didn't want to hear it because he had to go do something else. And I'm like, are you sure? Because this is your eternal soul. And he's all, no, I got to go meet up with a friend down the street. And this is where I had to be compelling. This is where this verse came into play right here. Because, I had to actually compel him, to try to get saved, to try to at least hear the gospel. His name was Joseph, by the way. So, I tell him, hey, Joseph, I don't know what's going to happen, after you leave us, but I will tell you this, because you're trusting your good works, you're on your way to hell. And then he just looks at me, and I tell him, this is your eternal soul. And by the looks of it, you're on your way to hell. And, if you don't hear this right now, I believe that God's giving you a chance to hear the gospel of how to get to heaven. And he just stops there, and I tell him, so now I want to ask you again, do you mind if I just show you real quick from the Bible how you can get to heaven? And he's like, yeah, I guess I do have a few minutes. And so I go through the whole gospel with him, and he ends up getting saved. But it just goes to show how even of course this was my last person. We were kind of on a time limit, but you know what? I wanted to see this kid saved, so I had to be compelling. I had to really open up. Really let him open up his mind, letting him know that, hey, his condition, he's on his way to hell. He's trusting in his works. And the Bible says that you can't trust in your works to get to heaven. And so, I had to be compelling towards this young man and tell him, hey, you're on your way to hell, dude. So, I want to encourage, the viewers, be compelling in your gospel. If someone doesn't want to hear it, after the first and second admonition, then don't give it to them, but try at least 2 times. Every time when I try to when I ask the 100% question and they say no, I always tell them, can I just leave you one Bible verse? Usually they say yeah, and after I finish giving them the Bible verse, something like Romans 4:5 or something, but I finish giving them the Bible verse, I end up telling them again, like, hey, are you sure you don't have a few minutes? And then they're like, sometimes they're either yes or no, but you gotta be compelling. I remember one of my old pastors used to say, go for no, and he had a son that always went for no, and it goes to show you that the worst thing that can happen is just that they tell you is no. And so I want to encourage the viewers, be compelling in your gospel. Don't just be content with the no. Try to at least try to at least give them a Bible verse, give them something, something they can leave with that at the end of that. So that's the end of this vlog right here, and I hope it was encouraging to you, and I hope some people benefit from this. And of course, stay tuned more and more. I'm trying to produce more videos like this as well, so stay tuned. And also stay tuned for next week's Driving Thought Thursday. So God bless you. You have a good day.